Ross Campbell, in all of his years as a family therapist, said that the main complaint that most children have is that they don't think their parents love them. Yet he had never met a parent that didn't love their children. What do we do with this disconnect? Hi, welcome to The Peaceful Home. If you're new here, I'm TeresaElling. I'm a parenting coach, among other things, and I love to talk about family dynamics, parenting, and especially child training. I read Ross Campbell's book, How to Really Love Your Child, as a young mom, and it had tremendous influence on me. I don't think that we naturally come into parenting, though most of us think that we might. In fact, in Titus 2, it says that the older women are to teach the younger women, and there's a whole list of things, among them to love their husband and children. I look at that and I say, why would God say that we need to be taught how to love our children? That doesn't make sense. Don't we just automatically love them? Well, apparently not. Even with the most loving of parents, there can be a gap between the love that parents feel for a child and how a child receives that love. So there were a couple things that were mentioned in this book. I have not read it probably since the 80s, but I touch on these subjects every time I teach my parenting classes, and they're really basic and very important. Number one is to make eye contact with your child. Now, this might seem like a really simple thing, but often as we're going about our daily chores and duties, we are not making eye contact with our child. We're simply talking to them as we're moving about the room or cooking something on the stove. But it's very rare that we get down on their level, look them right in the eye, and speak to them. Now, some of the mistakes that we can make are to only use eye contact when we're angry. So that's when all of a sudden we stop everything, we look right at our child because we're trying to make a point. And the same thing goes when trying to discipline your child in some way or trying to correct them. Then we think it's important to give eye contact, but it is so vital that your children receive eye contact throughout the day. One way I would recommend doing this is, first of all, make sure that you've trained your child to come to you when you call them. If that's not something you've done before, I will link below my video on training, and I talk about that very thing. So one of the easiest ways to do this is to simply call your child. Mary, come here, please. And as soon as she comes, you're already down on her level. You're looking at her as she's approaching, and you're gonna give her a big hug. I love you. Are you having a good day? Send her off on her way. When you actually have to give a command or say something, become aware that you're not just saying things while you're busy doing other things. Stop for just a moment, turn and face your child. Billy, don't forget to take the trash out as soon as you're done with your homework. Another way you can show love to your child is through affection. And this is absolutely crucial. Even if you did not grow up in an affectionate family, you can change your ways. And this is important. If this is such a foreign concept to you that you don't even think about it throughout the day, begin to set an alarm on your phone to remind you. And again, the same type of thing. Call your child to come, and as soon as they do, there's eye contact and a hug and a word of affirmation. But that hug, even just for a moment, is a point of connection, affection, and love. A lot of times what we do is we grow out of physical affection, because with babies, we have to touch them all the time, to change them, to get them dressed, to bathe them, to buckle them in their car seat. And as they get older and they're beginning to do these things independently, there's no longer a need for touch, or so it seems. They don't grow out of a need for physical affection. A study that I read years ago showed that girls on average are touched 5 times more often than boys. So this is so important to remember with our sons. Affection is important for both, but it tends to be easier with girls sometimes. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to kiss your son on the lips and hold him for long periods of time. As they get older, the types of affection can change, whether that's a tousle of the hair or a back scratch, or just, a side hug around the shoulders. Also, when we're saying things like, "You know what, James, I really love you. I'm so proud of you and I'm glad you're my son." That has even more connection by simply putting a hand on their shoulder or on their arm while you're speaking to them. The third emotional need that needs to be met in order to feel loved by parents is focused attention. Now, this can kind of feel like it goes along with eye contact, but it's so much more. It's being willing to sit and play with your child, read to them, or have a conversation. You can hit eye contact and physical affection in little spurts throughout your day that takes seconds. Focused attention takes a little more time. I would say at least 5 to 10 minutes, if not longer. This is one-on-one special attention. It's not that you're playing a family board game. It's that you're playing one board game with your child, and they're the only one in front of you. Being able to have a conversation maybe at bedtime. I'll link below the Better Bedtime Series that talks a lot about laying down with your child, being able to talk with them at bedtime. It's a really crucial time to connect with them. My husband and I went on dates with our children. And I'm sure you've heard of that before, but it was kind of a new thing 30 years ago. And we would take turns taking each one of our children out. They got to pick a place to eat, and they were completely alone with us. And with 6 kids, that was really a treat to be able to have just one parent be alone with you and have focused attention. This is a time to show interest in the things that they enjoy, their hobbies, their interests, their passions, and really come alongside them with support and, if possible, doing something with them. If there's a particular hobby, if they just love soccer, going to the park and kicking around the soccer ball with them really will mean a lot. Now, I'm sure you've heard of your child having an emotional tank. I think we all have one that needs to be filled. When children aren't receiving eye contact, physical affection, and focused attention, their emotional tank is running low. And those are the things that fill it back up. Now, I think it's important as parents to assess when our child is struggling emotionally and maybe needs a fill up. But the one thing I would never do is say that out loud in front of your child. Like, "Oh wow, you're misbehaving. You must really need your emotional tank filled." Or, "I don't know what's wrong with you. Apparently you need some more time with us." Those types of things. Use it as your own assessment. Look at it, see, okay, I think that my child is needing some more focused attention from me. I think they are needing some more affection. I'm really gonna work on this, but I'm not gonna talk to them about it. I'm just going to do it. This way the child never hears that as an excuse for their bad behavior. I know these 3 things might seem overly simple, basic if you will, but they are absolutely crucial to help your child feel connected to you, feeling safe and loved. We always want our children to feel that they are special and important to us. So like I said, if you need to start with putting reminders on your phone so that you can start putting these things into place more often, please do that. Please remind your spouse. Make it a goal to hit these things several times a day or a week and see the difference that it can make in your child's life. If this parenting content is encouraging to you and helpful, would you consider subscribing? And please hit the thumbs up button. That helps my channel so much, and it lets YouTube know that parents are looking for content like this. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Peaceful Home. Have a great day.